Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Let's start off talking about the recent Game Pass announcement, as we got November's first slate of games, and there is a bunch of games here and a ton of day one Xbox Game Pass games, which is always cool. So let's start off here with the first announcement, which is Headbangers Rhythm Royale. This was announced in the October announcement, but it is actually available right now. You can go ahead and download that and play. It's that rhythm game with battles and stuff like that. So don't know too much about it, but from what I've seen in terms of videos, it does look kind of fun. You have Jusant. Jusant actually is one of those games that was announced at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase this year, and it was a day one game that they highlighted. It is a mountain climbing game. Looks like it could be pretty fun, and reviews are out for Jusant, and we have here it's sitting at an 88 on Metacritic. So this is one that is getting great reviews, probably one you will want to check out. I feel like it's gonna be one of those games you sit back, you relax, and you take in the atmosphere of it. I will definitely be checking this one out and see if something that I do enjoy. But this game right now is also available. Then there's also War Tales that is available today. Now I looked into this game, and it is a strategy turn-based RPG, and you're controlling your troops. You're going through the medieval universe and stuff, and there is a lot in this game. It looks extremely deep, and from everything I've seen about it, it is a very, very good RPG from the reviews and everything and people that have already played it. So War Tales is available. If you're into that type of stuff, go check out a video, and I would recommend checking the game out if that's your style of game. Now, here are the other announcements, and there are a bunch of games coming soon, all day and date to coming to Xbox Game Pass. First of all, on November 2nd is Thirsty Suitors for cloud, console, and PC. This is a turn-based RPG mixed with like anime, mixed with skateboarding and cooking and just a bunch of different stuff. So this may be one that you're interested in. I think you're going and you're fighting like ex-boyfriends and stuff. I don't know. It may not be for me, but it is available day and date coming on November 2nd. Then we have Football Manager for both cloud, console, and PC, and I guess they also have it separately here for PC, because I guess it'll be two different clients that you download to play this game. This will be available day and date on November 6th, and Football Manager is always a massive game every single year, and this is the newest version coming. Dungeons 4 coming November 9th, day one, cloud, console, and PC, and this is a dungeon management game. Essentially, you're going through and you're controlling the creatures in your dungeon and building stuff and playing more in the management side rather than going through and taking out people within the dungeons. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. Then you have Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. This was a big announcement when they first showed it off, and that it was coming day one to Xbox Game Pass. This will be available cloud, console, and PC on November 9th. Wild Hearts, which is that Monster Hunter competitor that got great reviews when it released. This will be coming November 9th to cloud, console, and PC. The funny thing here about Wild Hearts is that we did hear about some rumors that they were actually already shutting this game down. They were going to turn off the service because probably did not sell very well, but now we see it here coming into Game Pass / EA Play. So maybe those rumors were not true. I don't see them shutting it down anytime soon if they're putting it into a subscription service where you're going to get a lot of people jumping in and trying it out for the first time. I probably will try it out now that it is available. So hopefully it does last for a decent amount of time, and maybe coming into the subscription service is going to revitalize the entire game. They got Spirit Tea here from cloud, console, and PC on November 13th. This is also a day one game, and this is like a life sim style of game. They say inspired by Stardew Valley and Spirited Away. It has a retro graphic style, and this is coming from the No More Robots developers, who have been pretty vocal about how good Xbox Game Pass is for their games. They've actually made more money putting their games into Xbox Game Pass than when they previously weren't doing it, and they say a lot of people have discovered their games and they want to bring pretty much all of their games over to the service. Then there's Coral Island here coming on November 14th, and this is like another sim management game on an island. They says here, Coral Island invites players to be who they want and experience the enchanting island, living at their own pace, living off of the land, nurturing animals, building relationships with a diverse cast of townsfolk, and making the world around them more vital and a harmonious place. I'm guessing this is kind of like an animal Crossing style of game. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what that does sound like. So there it is. That is the announcement for Game Pass. I think this is another great slate of games coming over. It does make November have a bunch more stuff to play. I mean, I think the big one here will be like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erases Names. And I mean, Wild Hearts. I feel like a lot of people will now for the first time be jumping into that one. And then War Tales. I'm definitely interested in seeing what that one is all about. But let's jump over here. Let's talk about another game that will still be coming over to Xbox Game Pass this year, and that is Baldur's Gate 3. We know the whole controversy with Baldur's Gate 3. It was held off from releasing at the same time as PS5 because of the couch co-op and the Xbox Series S, and they said they couldn't release it without it being full parity with the X and the S. And then Microsoft and Xbox, they came out and said, you know what, we can get rid of that parity clause. You can release this game on the Xbox Series S without having the couch co-op, which has allowed Baldur's Gate 3 to still be on track to be releasing this year. And they updated that because we are in November. It's only 2 months left, so I don't know how close they're going to cut it to the deadline, December 31st, but it is still on track here to be released in 2023. This comes via the CEO, Sven Vink, saying that latest on the Xbox being actively playtested, still on schedule for this year. We'll announce the exact release date when we're sure it's done. So I'm guessing that it is very close. I would not be surprised if this game came out by the end of November, maybe even by mid-November, as they're going through the playtesting stuff and just making sure everything works. Obviously, it is going to be the Series S that they really do have to focus on. I'm guessing it was pretty much ready to go on the Xbox Series X at the same time as the PS5. It's just making sure that everything is worked out and it comes out in a good quality. I mean, at the end of the day, at this point, with all the games that people have to play, I feel like you wait until this game is perfect before releasing, even if that means they come out with an announcement saying they're delaying it until 2024. But this is one of those games that will be up for discussion, I think, for many Game of the Year awards and just other categories that it will be in at the Game Awards and other awards shows. So we'll see if Xbox players do get to experience it before the end of 2023. Okay, let's talk about some of the biggest news that has hit the gaming industry over the last couple of days. We know it's has to do with the Sony layoffs and with Bungie in particular. We heard yesterday that there were some major layoffs at Sony again, and it had to do with Bungie. And I think this is really pointing towards some issues that are going on at Sony Interactive Entertainment, some issues that are going on with the PlayStation platform, where we've seen a lot of pivoting happening from them, especially after they lost against trying to block Activision Blizzard. We've seen layoffs, we've seen some major people leave. You know, PlayStation is sitting in their boardroom looking at ways to expand their ecosystem, getting more into the cloud, which they are improving their cloud services, getting more games on PC and stuff like that. And one of the other things that they are going to have to start doing, obviously because their performance is not good enough right now, is cutting and laying people off. And the Bungie layoffs yesterday really hit the industry hard. A lot of people were upset. A lot of people were talking about it. And now we have some more information as to kind of what exactly happened, why they made the layoffs, and some other stuff here that it makes it even, I guess, worse than people originally thought. So this is in a report here to IGN, and they had an internal town hall meeting where they talked about the Monday layoffs that impacted multiple departments. And they say Bungie CEO Pete Parsons allegedly told the remaining employees that the company had kept the right people to continue to work on Destiny 2. Now, I see people talking about this on X and saying, oh, they are saying they're keeping the right people, which is a slap in the face to the people that got laid off. Here, the thing here is, what are you going to go in on a town hall after you've laid off a bunch of people? What are you going to go in and say to them and say, hey, we kept you because we want to make sure that you guys make less money than the people that we laid off so that we can cut more costs, or something crazy along those lines. I'm not saying that's why they kept these people. I'm just saying, what is he going to say here to these people? He's obviously going to try to encourage them and try to boost their morale and tell them they are the best developers that they have, and that's why they kept them. I mean, their morale is very low at Bungie today and going forward until they start producing more stuff that people are excited about. So he's going to go in there and he's going to tell them, hey, you're the right people. That's why we kept you. You're very important to the organization, and we're happy that you are still here. He's not going to really say anything else. And then we go on here, we hear more about what is going on there. We know about the games that have been delayed. Talked about this yesterday, but we kind of have some more specific dates here as to where they are delayed to. So Destiny 2, one of the reasons why they had to make these layoffs is specifically because Destiny 2, they say here, was underperforming. They say Sony Parsons told employees the layoffs were largely due to underperformance of Destiny 2 over the last year, as well as lower than expected pre-orders for the upcoming expansion, the Final Shape. So Destiny 2 is on the downward slope, and they have to do something to revitalize that game, or it could be a lot worse here for Bungie. Obviously, they are thinking of what they can do. They obviously want to release more expansions that get people more excited for the game, but the next expansion is going to be delayed, and that is going to be delayed until June of 2024, which maybe they're doing that to add in more stuff to get people excited for it. And then Marathon, which was that next big game a lot of people were excited about because it was a new IP here from Bungie that we had never seen. That actually has been internally delayed to 2025, and that has been in development since 2019. So those are two major delays. I'm kind of disappointed that they have delayed Marathon until 2025. I was interested in seeing what that game was going to be all about, how they could evolve from Halo to Destiny, and then now here to Marathon, what differences they would be able to make and improvements in their gameplay and storytelling and all that type of stuff. So that's that one. We're gonna have to wait a couple of years now before we get our hands on it. Now, in terms of some other stuff here, they say employees were also told that Destiny 2 player sentiment was at an all-time low, meaning the people who play that game, they just weren't happy with it. And Destiny 2 overall has been very, very successful, but again, right now it is on the downward slope. They say sources tell IGN that this issue had been flagged to leadership repeatedly for months prior to the layoffs, with employees begging for necessary changes to win players back. And obviously, they didn't make those changes. Now, we know what Bungie, one of the things is, it is a Sony first party studio, and I've seen a lot of people going back and forth on this, trying to remove all blame from the golden child PlayStation into what is going on here. Bungie is taking full credit, you can say, for these layoffs. They're taking everything to them and saying this was not a decision by Sony. But the reality of the situation is, what is happening here is directly happening after about a year that they've been under Sony leadership and under the Sony banner. Sony is Bungie and Bungie is Sony. You can't separate them out when something bad happens here. And this is, I believe, a direct result of this acquisition. Maybe they overspent. Maybe there was some things here that they didn't account for, and they're having to make cuts because they're not making enough money right now. That's probably what the reality of the situation is here. They're looking at the writing on the wall. They're looking at their financials, and it is not looking good. So this is why these cuts are making. Would they have to have made these cuts, or as many cuts as they did, if Bungie was not a part of Sony? We will never know that, but you can't separate out Sony from Bungie. This is a failure both at Sony and Bungie, both together, as they are one company. Just like with Xbox, if something happens here at Activision in the next year, something happens with Bethesda that is bad like this, you can't separate Xbox out of that. They are a major part of this. They are the overseers of these developers. So this year, one former Bungie employee recalled that they were repeatedly assured that the 2022 Sony acquisition of Bungie, that there would be no layoffs. So again, right here, they said that when Sony purchased them, there would be no layoffs, and they claimed that $1.2 billion of the $4 billion acquisition was going explicitly towards staff retention. And now they're cutting about 100 people or so, that is reported. I don't believe the exact number is 100% confirmed, but from these sources, they said about 100 people had lost their job. So it is a bad day for Bungie, and it's a developer that has made my favorite franchise essentially of all time, which is Halo, when they came out with Halo Combat Evolved. And one of the people that also potentially did get laid off from this was Michael Salvatore, who my opinion is a part of the greatest soundtrack of all time with Halo Combat Evolved and the other Halo stuff that he has created. It's just, he makes some of the best music in video games, and apparently he got laid off with this new round of layoffs. Now, first of all, it's not 100% confirmed. He is not a Bungie anymore, but the question here is whether he got laid off or whether they kind of forced him into retirement. And they say here that Salvatore's history with Bungie dates back to his work on 1997's Myth: The Fallen Lords. His credits include multiple Halo titles, including 2001's Combat Evolved, as well as both Destiny games and their expansions. And obviously he worked there with the fellow composer Marty O'Donnell on the music for the original Halo titles as a part of their company. I think the greatest soundtracks of all time in gaming come from Marty O'Donnell and Salvatore. I mean, that's just my opinion. There's obviously various opinions there on music, but it's at least my favorite. So it's sad to see this happen because he is a true great when it comes to music in video games, and I wonder what's going to happen next. Where is he going to end up? Is this somebody that 343 and Xbox try to bring back to try to make more music for the Halo franchise? But we don't know if it was official layoff or if he just went into forced retirement. Then we have Paul Tassi here, who got some more information per his source and say that the layoff decisions came directly from Bungie management, not Sony. This is not about Sony replacing Bungie employees with their own people. And says many employee benefits, though not health insurance, only last until the end of the month. If you're let go, laying people off on the 30th means a single additional day of coverage. So they laid them off, and going forward now, we're November 1st. They're not going to have any more health insurance. They say many employees had unvested shares as a result of the Sony purchase. These shares would be received based on staying with the company for a certain number of years following the sale, but those shares revert to Bungie if you leave, even if you're fired, which is what's happening now to many of those affected. So it's pretty bad there. Feel bad for the employees, of course. Hopefully they find a place to work and land on their feet. I mean, these people who are being laid off have worked on a very successful game in Destiny 2, games as a service stuff. So, and there's definitely a lot of companies out there that need employees to work on those styles of games. So I feel like they will land on their feet, and hopefully this ends up for the better. But there are definitely troubles going on here at PlayStation. Now let's jump over here. Let's talk about Modern Warfare 3 and the PlayStation 5 Slim, because we did get some first pictures here as to what the PS5 Slim looks like compared to the old PS5. And here it is. I mean, it is definitely significantly smaller. Now, I think if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know my opinion on the PS5 design. I have a PS5. I dislike it very much. I think it's very ugly. I think it's very big and gargantuan. And I think the overall design of the PS5 is just simply bad. I think the PS5 Slim isn't much better, at least in the looks of it. I think it's a pretty ugly console too. I don't like it very much, but I would absolutely rather have the PS5 Slim than the OG PS5 because it does look significantly smaller, and I like how it has like the detachable disk drive and everything, so you do have that choice. It just really will take up far less space in your entertainment space, in your entertainment system, on your desk or under your desk or wherever you play your PS5. It does look about 30% smaller, as they did claim. So there it is. And one of the things with the PS5 is they are going to be bundling Modern Warfare 3, which is a first-party Xbox game. Xbox is going to be making a ton of money off of PlayStation this Christmas, as people are getting this under the tree. Parents are buying it for their kids. Xbox is going to be raking in the cash there. But they are bundling Modern Warfare 3 with the PS5 Slim at no extra cost, apparently. So it's going to be $500 with this bundle, which I think is a good thing. It's awesome to see that they aren't charging more for the game itself. You're just picking up the PS5 and you're getting this as a free thing, which is something we haven't seen in a while. At least I can't remember where bundled games didn't add to the cost of the console itself. I can remember back in the day in the older generations where they had bundles where games were just thrown in there in the bundle, which was the cost of the console, and then you got a free game or so. So that we haven't seen that, because you would see these bundles here and it would be like $4 or $570 or $550 or something generally for the bundles that did come with the games. But they say, according to a PlayStation advert spotted by Charlie Intel, which reports that Modern Warfare 3 console bundle will be released on November 10th and it will be priced at $500. That's the same price as the standalone console and $60 less than the Spider-Man 2 PS5 Slim bundle, which is reportedly launching on November 8th. So that's pretty cool. We're going to see a first-party Xbox game marketed on a PlayStation 5 console and be its main seller for the rest of this year and probably even further than that. It's just crazy times in the gaming industry. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.